Ooh. Hair's getting a bit long. Where's this bad boy? Don't get that in shot. Bit of ASMR for you. Oh, it's struggling to go down. I think I left it too long. I always have my jug of coffee on the weekends. 2.5 coffees out of it, maybe. So yeah, I didn't do a video last weekend because I was ill, and I'm a little bit. I still got the sniffles. It's one of those ones, isn't it? I don't get ill, so like admitting that I'm ill is a big deal to me. So yeah, I've been going to work and stuff, but there's been like a weight behind my eyes, and it's just sort of clearing off now. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice to come out the other end, and sort of I've been going to the gym again, and going to the gym again, and yeah, just loving life again. I'm back to it, but yeah, I think I got ill like Thursday, Friday, and then the weekend. Yeah, Saturday, Sunday was a chore, and then Monday was like. Also, I rode my motorbike Monday. It was a cold one. I wasn't wearing the right gear, and yeah, that was a bit like getting hypothermia in the morning whilst being ill. It's not a good one. Anyway, I've been trying to keep up with the shorts, trying to keep this got 20 subscribers. That's mental. I love that. Like I genuinely like enjoy. Like I'm like, what, 20 people? That's great. Like I'm just like a regular bloke, you know what I mean? So like 20 subscribers is like, that's like an audience, you know? So what I was going to talk about today is sort of, I've got little notes. I was going to talk about my CV and everything, but I still sort of like, I talk to myself, and I don't think haven't really put that in sort of order in my head to sort of just freestyle like I like doing. And so today's video is going to be about like sort of when going into printing, like that it opens so many doors, and you go into printing, and then you learn other techniques, and you learn finesse, and you can you learn the paper, and you learn the vinyl, and you know, if you do it long enough, and you study these machines, and when you're working with them, you sort of do you study the rips, and then when you study the rips, you can go to another rip, and you sort of already have it in your head how to work it. So there's a saying that, like, you know, you're going to print as a creative and come out an engineer, and it is sort of self-fulfilling. You do low-key become an engineer. I am technically like a laser engraving engineer, printing engineer. I can work. I've taken apart HP design jets and replaced the belt, and I've done lots of little things like that, which you can mostly do off YouTube. So, you know, there's me saying I'm an engineer. It's like I can follow instructions. But isn't that life? Oh, that's a strong coffee. That's lovely. So like, I'm still a creative. I love illustrations. I love design. I love looking at like a vector image on Illustrator, or you know, and I'm going into a lot more. I've done packaging design before. I suppose this is my CV video. Well, I dabble. It probably all overlaps, doesn't it? So I've done packaging design before, and you have to learn how to, you know, where the cutter's going to go. So is it going to cut away from the packaging? Because if it cuts that way, then takes away, it's going to pick up the paper. And so now I'm doing technical drawings for a laser engraver as well. So like it's very mathematical than sort of creative. So it's like you are considering the next steps. So for instance, you've got a bit of metal that needs bending. That bend is going to, do you want it inside the fold, or do you want it, you know what I mean? So there's tolerances there. So it's a lot of like equations that go on. So that's sort of like another moment of the creativity sort of going. So it's It's very mathematical. Even like as, you know, someone who is in a print studio who's just like a hand worker or a guillotine guy or whatever, you know, sort of like production, you know, some of these guys have been in the industry for like 20 years. They know the numbers in their heads when they put them in the guillotine, doing thousands of cuts at a time. They'll be thinking about the next step of the person, like how is this going to make the next person's life easier? And there is a like a beauty to it. Like when you see these guys work, and you're like, they're just, and the way they finesse the paper and they air it out and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I rate that. These guys don't even think about it anymore. And you know, someone who does print who I spoke to like a couple of girls who are in print, and like when they're talking to you, they're airing out the paper, which is that's just like passive, you know. Airing out the paper means the paper don't stick together. It's easy to work with. It's just like, it's great. I think that's really well. So going into print, you learn the machines, you learn the software, and you learn the finesse. So you learn how to use a blade. You know, it sounds so simple to cut a bit of paper, but you know, sometimes, you know, it doesn't work out that way. It's quite there is a finesse to it, and even using a guillotine, sometimes a guillotine can be a bit wonky. So I guess there's characteristics to every machine. Some tables might have dents in, so if you're cutting on a dented table, it's not ideal. But the finesse, like the vinyl finesse as well, like different vinyls and such, and how to weed and all the rest of it that comes with that. So you really do like learn, like when you're weeding, you know, when you first start weeding, you're like taking off like little bits, but when you get it, it's gone. And you learn the characteristics of the material again, so the certain vinyl that you're using, or the laminate perhaps, like, you know. So that's sort of, you pick up all these skills as you go along. And then you learn the rips and all the little tricks and the little impo things of how to tighten up jobs, and you learn what works and doesn't work. So and then when, you know, cleaning the print heads, you know, making sure the tubes are all nice, you know, looking out to what to look for if the clips aren't there and stuff. You sort of become an engineer. If you're taking the machine apart, that's when you think, right, the machine's got to be knackered to do this, because I'm not trained to do this. Or you could just pay someone £600 to £800, probably more now, to come and fix it. So it's one of those ones. When I did it, it was like the last resort. So, you know, we're like, right, the machine's knackered. So if, you know, I worked at a place where they got to a point where they were working so much that it was cheaper to buy a new machine than to change anything. How mental is that? Like, that's crazy, isn't it? And I was like, I can fix it. So I just fixed up machines. And then I'm like, oh, I'm an engineer. It's sort of inevitable. Probably in any role, really, in any industry, you become. You study while you're there. People don't realize all like the little bits and the little tricks they pick up as they go, and working smarter and as they go. So you low key become an engineer. Low key, all right. You know, you learn the materials. So the materials as well. So if you learn the materials, you could advise. You could become a salesman. I've been in meetings before because I've just gone because they were like, we need to know what we're capable of. I'm like, cool, I'll come along. They're asking for this. I said, well, actually, this would be better, and they go for it. And I'm saying, this would be quicker. This would be, you know, where are they going? You can ask, you know, we did these Corex printing on a flatbed, and you know, these things just get battered by weather, by people, by everything. The pigeons have a go. Everyone has a go. And they were just like, we need them fast. It's like, well, we can put it on the fastest speed, but the quality isn't going to be the best. And they were like, that's fine. and this is for a big boy company as well. So it's like, you know, it's one of those ones. Do you want it fast? This is what you're going to get. So it's you've got to, so you learn. So when I say you sort of, you become less of a creative, you have that technical mindset. And I think when you go into print, these are the things that you sort of print. People think that you press a button. I have friends coming up, I'll just print something for me. I'm like, what do you want? They're like, you know, it needs to fit into this frame. What frame? Like you know, just pulling out, like, that's so bizarre. Like people think you just go print, done. But yeah, there's so much to it, and for me, I think it comes down to that. I always love saying this saying, but I've been told how printing works. So the machine goes over the material, and it prints pixel perfect, right? That don't make no sense to me. So for me, like, as becoming an adult is finding out how things are done behind the curtain. The magic is gone, and it's just like, for me, one of the I still think there's lots of magic in the world, but for me, one of them, like, for me, printing is still magic. You know, you can explain to me that's going across there and going zzz, 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 zzz. You could show me the slow motion of it's spraying it as well, like an electronic. So for me, like, printing, that's why I'm just like, printing's kind of like bizarre. Like, how does that even work? And someone explains to me, I'm like it doesn't like, I know, but like I'm being a bit facetious, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but how? Oh, it just goes over, and you know. So when I say the creativity gets taken, it kind of doesn't, because the creativity is always going to be there in print, because it's a creative industry. It's just like, you know, there's problems that occur, and you've got to figure out what's going on, and that's the engineering. You become familiar with products, you become characteristics, and every machine has different characteristics. Even if you had two Mamakis next to each other, they'd be different. It's just the way it is. So yeah, I think printing is kind of magic if you think about it. So when people say you go and you become the engineer, you become the salesman, and you think if you've been with a company long enough, they will trust you. They'll say, all right, come to this, or you know, you did that machine before. Why don't we put a bit of money aside for you to fix the machines instead of us buying them? You know, companies will do this. They just will. But so when you go into the production level of printing, it's about efficiency and speed, because they take and you think, oh, this vinyl is cheap. This thing, no, the most expensive thing has two legs. You're paying for my time. So when they are saying, oh, this job is 2 meters of vinyl, but it takes 2 hours. I'm just pulling that out of my ass, but you know, that job is considerably more expensive, because 2 hours of your labour, they want to get that down to an hour, which means finesse and all the rest of it. And then once you get that speed up, a good production guy is hard to come by. Let's just say that. We can all admit that. But yeah, print itself is I just had a print studio go down in Reading, and they just shut down. It wasn't due to work. I know why it went down, but yeah, they liquidated, and I've had a few guys talk to me there, and yeah, it's unfortunate. And they were good guys. Some of them been in the industry for like 14 years, so they're like good at what they do, you know. And they're the guys who can just do it passively. They just 180 gram, you know, just touching paper, you know what I mean, like those guys. So like, going back to the point of the creativity is never gone. You become an engineer, but I think for print, if you learn, let's say there's a triangle. I'm just coming off the dome here. So you engineer, materials, and then creativity, software, hardware, and materials. If you can learn all three of these, I just made that up, right? Patent that, limited. If you can learn all of them, mate, you can probably move to any sort of print role, because a lot of printers don't have the Illustrator or the the Corel Draw or the CAD stuff, but they have the finesse of the working with the laminate and working with the printers. Whereas some people just have, graphic designer might just have the design stuff, making the drawings, but he doesn't know how to communicate that to the production guys. So he could change things to make their lives easier. So if you have all these three, so what did we say? We said the creative side, which is design, drawings, artworking, the materials, the finesse, the hardware. And should we put the ripping as well? So the rip software as well, because that's mathematical there. And if you have all three of these, which I do, and that's what kind of splits me apart, and that's what I don't just get bored in one section. I know all of them, so I can jump around and talk to a client, and so for me, I'm in a good position there. There you go. I've just made a triangle. Creative, finesse, hardware. If you want to go into printing, I would suggest, and I think it's inevitable, you will pick up other skills in any role. So if you do care about printing, and the print place is just shut down in Reading, but print isn't dead. It's just become very, very, very efficient, and the heart in a lot of places is gone. It's just very corporate, I suppose. So I want to kind of bring back the sort of spirit. Perhaps that's another video. I'm going to think about what that means in another video. Like and subscribe. Thank you. 21 subscribers. Can we get to 30? I think at 50 I'll do a giveaway, sticker giveaway, just whatever you want, stickers, and so 50 subscribers giveaway, but we're going to go 30 next. Cheers, guys. Shit, it's quite a long video. Peace. Have a good Saturday.